Hey guys, how's it going? I'm back with another 10 metal bands you haven't heard but should. I meant to record this one like a week ago, but just things kept coming up. The big one being that we've just finished the 4th issue of Shrieks from the Abyss, my partner and I, so we sent that off to press last night. I mean, all the interviews and stuff were pretty much done. It's just piecing it together, fine-tuning the layout, stuff like that. I'm not very good with that kind of stuff, so I just handed it over to them and was just like, can you help format it? Cult Never Dies aren't doing this one, just simply because it's a standalone issue. I think 68 pages it was, something like that. So, you know, it's a fairly sizable singular issue. It's all trad heavy metal, so like either old bands or bands that sound old, so that's going to be cool. There'll be an announcement about that soon. I'm not going to bother with pre-orders, just I want to make sure they're all actually printed correctly before I start taking anyone's money, just otherwise then you have to go, you know, oh, there was a fuck up, we'll either refund you. It's not worth the pain. So yeah, it should be cool anyway. I just figured I'd update you guys about that. And yeah, otherwise, let's get into it. So first up we have Obnoxious Youth, which is a really killer band I just saw in Sweden at the pre-show for the Abyss Festival. They're just absolutely insane live. I'd only really heard of them because of the festival announcement, so I kind of listened to them. I was like, okay, this is cool. Saw them live, really blew me away. So yeah, I bought this. I've also bought their last full length, but it hasn't turned up yet. I ordered the LP from Sweden, but Royal Mail, which is the UK Postal Service, is on strike at the minute, so it's just it's a bit of a guessing game when stuff turns up. You know, that is what it is. Sometimes you just have to be patient. But yeah, this EP or mini LP, whatever you want to call it, is killer. 6 tracks. It's kind of like speed, thrash, heavy metal, and punk all rolled into one. So they don't really sound too much like any other bands. They record analog, actually. I think they record all on 8-track or something. And yeah, it's got a very kind of analog, there's no CD release or whatever. You have to buy the vinyl. It's just got a very natural sound, which really lends to that DIY raw feel of the music that's not cultivated. It's very genuine. So yeah, Obnoxious Youth rules, and especially live. Check them out. Next we have a couple tapes from my buddy Gustav at Jawbreaker Records. First up we have Acid Blade, who play killer old school heavy metal. Of course, you can probably tell from the artwork. They just excellent new wave of traditional heavy metal. And the other one is Aquilla, who play very similar kind of ball camp, but probably leaning more into speed metal. They're both really cool. There's going to be some Jawbreaker releases in the next Relic Razor video, but they're going to be old gems from the Swedish heavy metal of the 80s, so they're more suitable for that series. But yeah, support Jawbreaker Records. I got, I think, like 6 or 7 tapes in a trade with Gustav for my fanzine, which, by the way, the anthology, we sold all the copies we bought to Sweden, so fuck yeah, thank you to all of you Swedish maniacs who clearly old school. And yeah, these releases rule. They're definitely some killer new wave traditional heavy metal, keeping it old school. Next we have some death metal from Iron Flesh. These are a killer band. I love their last album, and I'm really glad that the new one lived up with this cooler scaffolder, however the fuck you say that. Icelandic is so hard. Artwork, it looks killer, it sounds killer on a War Anthem Records. Swedeath worship with a kind of very brutal edge, so kind of a bit like Bloodbath and Vomitory, that kind of stuff. Really killer sound, really heavy production, and yeah, great stuff. The next ones, I have been meaning to order some new jewel cases to put these in, so I'm just going to be showing the booklets because I don't have the jewel cases yet, so I apologise. If you buy these, they don't look, this is not how they will come. But yeah, first we have Jade, which is some killer atmospheric death metal. It kind of reminds me if you took something like the Ruins of Beverast, but the vocals a bit more like Bolzer, which I love that kind of vocal style. I always think of it, it sounds really like abyssal and just chasmic and cool. It's a really good album. Really nice sound on here as well. I really like the end result. Autophagy, they play old school death metal. If you like bands like Autophagy and stuff, of course, and newer bands like Fetid and Cerebral Rot, this will definitely appeal. I think the logo and the artwork gives that away. Really nice one. I hadn't actually heard these guys, surprisingly. This was a new name to me, but it's a really cool slab of old school death metal. This is an unusual one. We have a Speglas, which is sort of like death metal with like a goth music edge. The closest kind of thing I could probably compare to that is Lunar Shadow. My knowledge of goth music isn't very good, other than, you know, like Sisters of Mercy and the kind of entry-level bands. But they use some of those like post-rock influences in a death metal band, and it definitely is unique. I think it's going to be one that maybe purists are a bit funny about, but it definitely doesn't feel like a kind of poser band trying to sound heavy at all. Like, it's got the darkness from the goth and the death metal, I think, work really cool together. Yeah, it's a 3-person band, so yeah, it's some cool stuff. It's unique. It's definitely different to a lot of this other stuff, but yeah, I dig it. The post-rock and goth stuff, for me, it's like, it can be cool as an element. I probably wouldn't listen to too much of it on its own, but with that death metal, it hits the right spots for me. Next we have some cosmic death metal from SubOrbital. Definitely if you like stuff like Mithras and Time Ghoul, and like, of course, Blood Incantation, those kinds of bands. Loads of technical guitar playing, Demolition, another one. The cool Lovecraftian looking artwork. It's just like cosmic death metal. It's great. I like this kind of stuff when it's done well. It's got a somewhat polished production, but not to the point it sounds like plasticky. The musicianship is just insane on this. So yeah, if you like those kinds of bands, definitely check this one out. Next we have some doom metal. We love some doom from I Hate Records. This is a oh shit, I haven't been saying the labels. Well, figure out. No, these are mostly on Pulverized, I think. But yeah, apologies for that. But this one is The Temple, their new album of just crushing doom metal. If you like Warning, Pallbearer, very solemn, anguishing kind of doom metal. It's very intense sound. Nice and traditional doomy, but with a very funereal kind of edge too. It doesn't get into that kind of like stoner rock stuff though as well, which I think lends to it actually sounding very genuinely kind of solemn and just heavy. It's a really cool album. I really like this. It's the kind of doom metal that I think you have to be in the mood for, but when you are, it just hits the right spot. And last, we have some traditional heavy metal from Pursuit. This is self-released, I believe, which is impressive because the production's really good. The artwork's cool. It feels like a very well put together release. The band photos are cool. It's called Loose Lips. It's got a hard rock edge as well, so it's not super heavy. It's fans of bands like Thin Lizzy can definitely get into this, as much as I think of Thin Lizzy, I guess, as like a heavy metal band, especially on the last record. It's also going to appeal to rock fans. It's a nice middle ground, but yeah, Pursuit, really cool and amazing work, especially without a label behind them, which if I've got that wrong I do all these videos from memory, so if I fuck up that label, it's going to be really angry, but there we go. Pursuit, well done guys, really cool album. Definitely like the right middle ground, I think, for rock and metal, for it to sound heavy, but like if you're trying to put in those rock influences as well, they've found a good spot for that. And yeah, I sort of had to barrel through that because I was not sure how long my battery was going to last. Yeah, I hope you guys dig these bands and support the bands and labels. It's all really cool stuff. And yeah, oh yeah, the Obnoxious Youth LP, that was on Asphalt Records. So yeah, just in case anyone wants to know that. I mean, I don't know how many people check out labels. For me, usually if a label has a lot of stuff I like, I will then make an effort to look out for that label's new releases, but maybe I'm the anomaly here, I don't really know. But yeah, definitely, I cannot overstate enough how killer Obnoxious Youth are live. To the point, my best friend got smashed in the head with a microphone stand, which was, added to the intensity of the show. But yeah, there we go. Check out some cool heavy metal, and until next time, keep it true.